Scorpio, you've always had a sixth sense about people, a quiet inner voice that can feel beneath the surface, even when nothing is said. And lately, that voice has been whispering louder. Something feels off. There's a weight in the air around someone close to you, someone you've trusted, someone who seemed genuine, maybe even made you feel seen in a way others couldn't. But that feeling of connection has come with a strange tension you haven't been able to shake. That's because what you've been sensing isn't in your head. It's real. This person is wearing a mask, and that mask is starting to crack. This isn't about paranoia or suspicion. It's about the truth preparing to reveal itself. In the days ahead, the illusion they've been maintaining will begin to fall apart, not through some dramatic confrontation, but in subtle, undeniable ways. Maybe they'll contradict themselves in a conversation. Maybe their reaction to something will be just a little too sharp, too rehearsed, too revealing. Maybe you'll catch them slipping, is saying something they didn't mean to say, or treating someone else in a way that suddenly makes their pattern with you very clear. Whatever the trigger is, it will align perfectly with the discomfort you've already been feeling in your body, in your heart, in that quiet Scorpio knowing that never lies to you. You see, Scorpios don't just trust what people say, they track energy, tone, consistency, and when someone isn't who they claim to be, your spirit feels it long before your mind can make sense of it. The person in question may be a partner, a friend, a coworker, or even someone in your family. But the common thread is that they've studied you. They've figured out what you value: truth, loyalty, emotional depth, and they've mirrored those things back to you to gain your trust. But it wasn't real. It was performance, calculated, and beneath it was a quieter motivation that served them, not you. What's about to happen isn't betrayal. It's exposure. The universe is about to take the veil off someone who has been draining your energy in small, consistent ways. Compliments, laced with expectation. Moments of connection, followed by subtle manipulation. Our support that always seems to benefit them more than it heals you. You might be tempted to question yourself when it happens, to wonder how you missed it. But don't. This isn't a failure of your intuition. It's confirmation of how powerful it truly is. You've been sensing the truth all along. Now, you're finally ready to see it without looking away. And once you do, everything changes. Not just in that relationship, but in you. There will be grief. Yes, letting go of who you thought someone was is a kind of death. But there will also be relief, because without the burden of false connection, you'll feel your energy return. You'll stop leaking power into dynamics that were never built to nourish you. You'll feel lighter, clearer, more grounded in your own emotional reality. And from that place, Scorpio, you will resonate with vengeance. Not with drama, but with silent clarity. The kind of clarity that changes everything, depending on when you were born. Scorpio, the shape of this unveiling may carry a particular flavor, one that reflects where this deception has been hiding in your life. For those of you born between the 23rd of October and the 1st of November, the masked presence is likely tied to your professional world. It may be someone you've collaborated with, leaned on for guidance, or even looked up to. Perhaps they admired your intensity, your insight, your ability to carry projects through to the end, but instead of offering true support, they've been harvesting your creative fire for their own momentum. They may have cloaked themselves in mentorship, but underneath was quiet exploitation. You gave them access to your trust, and in return, they siphoned your vision. If your birthday falls between the 2nd of November and the 12th of November, The deception may live closer to your heart. This is someone who has blended themselves into your emotional world, wearing the costume of closeness. It could be a romantic partner or someone you once called a best friend. They've said the right things, mirrored your emotional depth, made you feel seen in moments of vulnerability, but now you're beginning to feel the imbalance. You've been the one doing the emotional heavy lifting. They've been taking what you offer, your loyalty, your secrets, and your softness, and shaping it into something they can use, not to love you better, but to hold power over the parts of you that long to be loved. And for Scorpios born between the 13th of November and the 21st of November, this illusion may be rooted in the inner sanctum of family. It could be someone bound to you by blood or history, someone who has long occupied a space of supposed closeness, but beneath the surface, there is a pattern of manipulation, subtle control, or emotional guilt that has followed you like a shadow. They've learned how to position themselves as the one who needs you, the one who depends on your strength, yet in doing so, they've taken from you without ever truly giving back. Your generosity has become their emotional currency, and your compassion has been used as leverage wherever this person sits in your life, at work, in love, or at home. The common thread is this: they were drawn to your power, not your presence. And Scorpio, your energy is not meant to be consumed by those who refuse to meet you in truth. When the mask falls, it will be startling, but it will also be unmistakably right. And with that clarity, you'll step into the next phase of your evolution stronger, sharper, and no longer available for anything that feeds off your light in silence. Scorpio, before the mask falls, your body will already know what your mind is not yet ready to accept. You may have noticed it in moments that felt strangely off when being around this person left you inexplicably drained, as if something in your spirit had been quietly siphoned without permission. You weren't doing anything particularly demanding, yet afterward, you'd feel tired, foggy, ungrounded. That fatigue wasn't physical, it was energetic. It was the consequence of being in the presence of someone who doesn't meet you with truth, someone who mirrors intimacy but withholds authenticity. And the deepest part of you has already been trying to protect you from it. You may also recall how this person always seems to know exactly what to say. They offer words that make you feel seen, even cherished. They praise your strength, your loyalty, your emotional depth. But these affirmations are never just gifts, they are investments. They often come just before a favor is asked. A boundary is tested. A subtle guilt is introduced into the space. The timing is precise. Every warm compliment is followed by a cooling request, sometimes disguised as a casual question, sometimes as an offhand comment designed to push you into action. It creates a cycle where your worth is acknowledged just enough to keep you engaged, but never honored fully for its own sake. And if you're honest with yourself, there have been moments when you felt it, this subtle exchange, this unspoken price. Still, you stayed, you softened. Because Scorpio, your heart, though fiercely protected, is also deeply romantic in its belief that people can grow, that pain can be understood, that love can heal. You've always had the ability to see what others can become, not just what they are. And so you told yourself stories. You explained away the inconsistencies. You gave benefit of the doubt where doubt had already made itself clear. You looked past the uneasiness because you wanted to believe the connection was real. And in that willingness to believe, you silenced your own knowing. But that silence is lifting. The signals are growing louder, and the discomfort more difficult to ignore. And while this realization may hurt, it's also sacred, because it means you're no longer abandoning yourself to preserve something that was never whole. You're returning to your intuition, not just as a tool for reading others, but as a form of self-respect. The patterns are there. The warning signs have always been there. But now, you're finally in a place spiritually and emotionally where you can see them without guilt or self-blame. And that shift will change everything. Scorpio, what's coming is not a tragedy, it's a release. It's the quiet unraveling of a bond that was never built on truth. The shedding of an illusion that has quietly weighed down your spirit for far too long. You may feel the initial sting of disappointment, maybe even grief, for what you believed was real. But as the days pass and your inner clarity returns, you'll begin to feel something else rising beneath the sorrow, a sense of freedom. Because what you're walking away from isn't love or loyalty. You're walking away from performance, from manipulation dressed as intimacy, from a dynamic that asks you to abandon parts of yourself in exchange for crumbs of validation. This isn't about blaming yourself for not seeing it sooner. Your intuition didn't fail you. It was speaking all along in subtle cues, in that strange fatigue, in the way your body tensed in certain moments, but your heart tried to soften the truth. The only thing that blocked your clarity was your compassion, your desire to believe in the best of someone who hadn't yet earned that belief. But now, the fog is lifting, and when you see clearly when the mask falls, you'll feel a deep shift, not just in how you see them, but in how you honor yourself. That moment of truth will realign you with your power in a way that no external betrayal ever could. And when it happens, you won't need confrontation. You won't need fireworks or final speeches. Your silence will be your liberation. Your stillness, your exit without explanation, will speak volumes. Because when someone feeds off your energy through falsehood, the greatest loss they can experience is the moment you stop feeding them. The moment you choose to redirect your light towards something true. You don't need revenge. Scorpio, you don't need proof or public exposure. You need distance. You need peace. And that peace begins the moment you choose to protect your power rather than prove your point. What follows will be a transformation, not just in your outer world, but in the way you love, the way you choose, the way you guard the gates of your own emotional realm. You'll begin attracting relationships that resonate with your depth, not because you've become more guarded, but because you've become more discerning. You'll no longer mistake intensity for intimacy or charm for character. You'll recognize real connection by the way it calms your nervous system, not by how well it flatters your ego. And in that shift, Scorpio, you will not only reclaim the energy that was taken from you, you will evolve into someone who can never be deceived in the same way again. This is your turning point. Let the mask fall. Let the truth speak. And when it does, choose yourself. Scorpio, if you've made it this far into the message, then something deep within you has already begun to shift. Maybe it's quiet. Maybe it's subtle, but it's there. A new clarity taking root. A deeper trust in your own perception. And more than anything, a quiet courage rising from within. Because this message was never just about the person whose mask is falling. It was about you, your ability to evolve, your refusal to keep betraying your own intuition for the sake of comfort, your willingness to finally say enough. You are not broken because you trusted the wrong person. You are not foolish because you gave someone the benefit of the doubt. That generosity of spirit, that desire to see the good, to hold space for grow, this part of what makes you extraordinary. But now, that part of you is growing up. Now, your heart is learning how to remain open without becoming exposed. Your spirit is learning how to love with discernment. This is the evolution of Scorpio, not harder, not colder, but wiser. You are shedding an old skin. an outdated version of you that tolerated just a little too much and stayed just a little too long, kept quiet just a little too often. And as that version fades, something powerful emerges in its place, something stronger, steadier, and far more rooted in truth. You do not need to chase closure. You do not need to explain your silence. You do not need to wait for an apology that may never come. What you need is to honor what you already know, to recognize that your intuition has been your compass all along, gently pointing toward freedom, even when you weren't ready to listen. And now you are ready. You are ready to walk away from what doesn't align, not with bitterness, but with deep self-respect. You are ready to stop excusing behavior that drains you and to stop mistaking survival for connection. You are ready to hold your energy like the sacred fire that it is and to offer it only to those who have earned the right to be near it. And as you do, Scorpio, your life will begin to reorganize itself around your truth. People who truly see you will begin to emerge. Opportunities that once felt blocked will start to move again. Your path will feel less heavy, more aligned, more free, because when you finally remove the mask from someone else, and you also remove a weight from your own heart, you stop carrying what was never yours to hold. You stop dimming yourself for the sake of harmony. You stop pretending not to notice what has always been right in front of you. So let this be your reminder. The truth does not destroy it, liberates. The end of illusion is not the end of love. It is the beginning of real love. And this moment, as painful as it may feel, is also your return to power. You are not losing something precious. You are recovering something priceless. Yourself. You don't need to fight for the truth. You only need to stop fighting against it. And now, you are free.